definitions of the word discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. And I strongly believe that the ability to develop a higher level of self-discipline within yourself is key to achieving any of your highest goals. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 action steps you can take in order to develop a higher level of self-discipline. And this video is sponsored by Displate, who were kind enough to send me these metal posters that you see behind me. And they are actually stuck to the wall by a really strong magnet, so I didn't have to poke any holes in the wall, which is great. And for every one Displate metal poster that is sold, 10 trees are planted, which I think is great. And so I'll put a link to Displate's website in the description box down below if you want to check them out. I think they make a really nice personalized gift idea, and of course I chose the ones that have positive quotes on them because I'm me. And this Nelson Mandela quote here, "It always seems impossible until it's done," is my favorite. I really, really love this one. And it's, even though I just put it up a couple days ago, it's already nice to see it every day. It's nice to look at positive words, and it's very inspiring. Alright, let's get into today's video. Discipline is a really important part of achievement, especially when motivation starts to wane. You know, when you're first excited to do something or you're first wanting to set a big goal, you're motivated, you're excited, your attention is completely on that desired result. Maybe it's a fitness goal and you want to go to the gym every single morning at 5 a.m. You're motivated, you're excited. But what happens when that motivation starts to fade and 3 or 4 days have passed and you're not so excited about going to the gym anymore, and you know, you're not as excited about taking action, and you're starting to think about giving up on it, or you're just not feeling so pumped anymore? That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is all about being able to take those actions even when you're not feeling so motivated. Even when you're not excited about taking the action, you do it anyway. And it's such an important and can be a very empowering skill to develop. And so the first step in developing more discipline is to take full responsibility for your life. To once and for all just claim responsibility over everything. I really like to say, it might not be my fault, but I'm going to make it my responsibility. And you can apply this to anything. You could apply it to work. Maybe you're at work and there's a situation, you're working on a project and other people are not pulling their weight, or other people might be, you know, to blame for something. Instead of making it their fault and blaming them and letting that be an excuse for not taking the needed action, take responsibility for what you can take responsibility for and make the action and take the action anyway. And this action of taking responsibility for the results that you're getting in every area of your life ties in with the second point on our list, which is to decide to stop blaming and to stop making excuses. Because when you're constantly blaming other people, events, and circumstances, you're giving away your power. You're saying that you're powerless to these things and that you can't do anything because of the weather or the economy or other people's actions or whatever else it may be. But to say once and for all that you're not going to make those excuses anymore. You're going to do what you can do with what is in your control. And that can be a very empowering thing. And I'll share with you an example that one of my mentors, Earl Nightingale, uses a lot in his work. And it is the story of a reporter who is interviewing the coach of a football team who just won the game. And as he's congratulating him on his team's win, he asks him, you know, what was it that made you win tonight? And he says, well, it was because we were prepared, we played excellently, and we practiced a lot. And the next week, that same reporter interviewed the coach when they had just lost their game. And he asked them, what do you think the reason for your loss was tonight? And he said, because it rained. And the reporter asked him, just on your team? Obviously, it rained on both teams, and one of the teams was still able to win despite the rain. And this story just kind of exemplifies the fact that often we're willing to take responsibility for our wins. We're willing to take responsibility for the results that we get that we're proud of. But when it comes to the results that we're not proud of, we try to find some sort of excuse or some sort of reason that's outside of our control, and to use that as the reason that, you know, we didn't get the results that we wanted. Alright, so number 2 is to stop blaming. Number 3 is to focus on what is important. Develop the keen ability to discern whether or not what you're spending time on is important in the big scheme of things. Are you spending your day and frittering your time away on little unimportant tasks? And if you start to ask yourself, like, even when this video is done, the next activity that you do, ask yourself in your mind, is this important? Is this getting me any closer to the big goals that I've set in my life? And the ability to constantly and consistently ask yourself that question and really be honest with yourself is really, really, really important. And be honest with yourself. Are you frittering away your time on, an hour-long conversation that could have taken only 5 minutes? Are you distracted on social media, scrolling for hours through Facebook and Instagram when you have something really important that you would love to be working on? So to be able to give your full energy, your most of the part of the day working toward what is really important to you is super important. Number 4 is so important, and it is to push through the lethargy and inertia. If you are trying to develop discipline in something that is new to you, maybe you want to get up at 5 a.m. and start going to the gym. Maybe you want to develop the ability to sit and write for 1 hour straight, and right now you don't do that. Whatever it may be that you're trying to develop and you're trying to become more disciplined in, at first it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unnatural. It's going to feel like you want to do anything other than the work at hand. But that's where you really, really need to push until you get to a place where you've made that activity a habit. Once it's a habit, it's natural. You will come to a time where you won't need to put in that much effort to get started. If you've ever had a fitness routine where you have to get up early in the morning and commit to that, you'll know that at first it might seem like such an effort to wake up early, to get all of your things together, and to make yourself go to the gym. But after, the second or third week, you find that you just get up, get your things, get your running shoes, get your keys, head out to the gym, and it's just become a part of your routine. You're just acting out the motions because it's what you've done yesterday, the day before, the week before, and the week before that. And it becomes natural. It becomes a part of your routine, and before you know it, you're not actually having to exert that much effort to get you going. And when I was writing this point out, I kept thinking of the playground ride. I don't know what it's called. It's a big wheel. You might know what I'm talking about. And there's bars on it, and the kids sit on top, and someone outside of the wheel is standing and pushing it. And so at first you have to push really hard to get the wheel moving, and before you know it, it starts to kind of take on a momentum of its own, and you don't have to push so hard, and then it just starts swinging on its own, and you can let go, and then it just keeps swinging and swinging and swinging. And so that's kind of what I thought of when it comes to building discipline. At first it just feels like, oh, you have to push so hard to make any action, and it just takes so much effort, and then before you know it, it's just kind of swinging on its own, and the habits are set, they're formed, and it's easy. Number 5 is to block out distractions, and get really, really serious about blocking out distractions. See distractions for what they really are. They are things that are taking your time away from what you're really wanting to be working on. And so it could seem really innocent that, your family in the other room are all on the couch laughing and watching a TV show, and maybe you just sit there, and before you know it, 15 minutes have gone by, 20 minutes, an hour, and you're on the couch for 2 hours of the night that you really wanted to be working on something else. So you have to really develop within yourself the ability to say, no, I'm not going to get sucked into that distraction. I'm not going to make that phone call now. I'm not going to, flip through these magazines right now. I'm going to focus on my work. And to get really, really, really serious about not allowing distractions, and do what it takes. If you have to put on noise canceling headphones when you're trying to work, or whatever it may be, do what it takes to keep yourself distraction free. Something I like to do is to completely clear my desk when I'm working so that there is nothing that can distract me, nothing that I could look at. Number 6 is to keep the big picture in mind, and I speak about this a lot on my channel, on the importance of knowing your why and remembering the reason that you started. What is your big goal? What is it that you're working toward? And it can be really easy to kind of let life happen and forget about the big goals if you're not constantly reminded of them and reminded of the why. Once motivation wanes and is not as strong as it once was, If you're not constantly reminding yourself of what it is you're working toward and why it's so important to you, why it's a big exciting goal, then you're not as likely to want to take the action toward it. You're not going to be as likely to consistently work toward it every single day and do what it takes in order to make the goals happen. And I will give you a made-up example right now. If I tell you right now to think of a bowl of grapes and to keep the image of the bowl of grapes in your mind, you'll probably be thinking about a bowl of grapes right now, and maybe for the next 10, 20, 30 seconds. Eventually, another thought will come into your mind and just stop thinking about the grapes. But if I told you to think about the bowl of grapes, and at the end of the day, if you think about this bowl of grapes all day long, and you keep that image of the bowl of grapes in your mind, I will give you a bag with $100,000 in it. Then you are excited to think about that bowl of grapes all day long. You are motivated because you know the result. You know what is going to happen if you think about that bowl of grapes all day long. And so it doesn't seem hard to do because you are excited about it. You're happy to think about the bowl of grapes because, you know, of this wonderful reward at the end of it. So the point of this story is to show that if you have the big picture in mind, if you have your reason why or what your big goal is, it makes it so much easier to take the actions now and do what you need to do today in order to make that happen. So do what it takes to keep that big picture in mind. If you want to make a vision board where you have clippings from magazines and you paste them all together on a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard and put that up and look at it to remind you, or if there's a positive quote or saying that reminds you of your big goal, you can look at that as well. Do whatever it takes to get yourself thinking about your big goals and stay focused, stay on track, and stay reminded of what is really, really important to you. I hope you are feeling excited and motivated to develop a higher level of discipline in your life. And I'm going to be sharing with you the last one on this list, number 7, and it is all about your self-image. Seeing yourself as a disciplined person. Your self-image is huge. It has a huge impact on the expectations you have on yourself, the results you expect to get in all areas of life, and how you feel. If you feel that you are unmotivated, that you're a lazy person, that you don't really know what you want, you don't really know what to do, and you don't expect much of yourself, then you're going to live out life and actions that are in accordance with that self-image. So it's really, really important to take some time, and maybe you can make this a journaling exercise. Write out what you believe to be the self-image of a person who is very self-disciplined. And picture yourself embodying those qualities. Picture yourself, you, being an extremely self-disciplined version of yourself. Think right now, how does an extremely self-disciplined person stand? How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they carry themselves? How do they interact with others? How do they think? How do they work? Ask yourself all of these questions. What body language do they have? What facial expressions do they have? This might sound a little bit bizarre, like, why am I trying to picture myself as this? But it's really, really important that you actually can envision yourself being more self-disciplined. Get rid of any of these negative beliefs, these ideas that you're just not that way, or you won't be able to do this, or that's not who you are, or you've never been super self-disciplined before, so how are you going to start now? You have to let those ideas go. They're not doing you any favors. They're actually very harmful, and they're untrue. They're just beliefs that you're holding on to, and it's time to let them go. So I want you to believe in yourself, and I want you to feel what it feels like to be an extremely self-disciplined, motivated, action-taking version of you. And go out and take those positive actions and make all of your dreams come true. If you want to stay reminded of these 7 steps to increasing your self-discipline, then you can visit my website, melissaalexandria.com, and search discipline in the search bar, or visit the resources section of the website. Alright, I hope you have a beautiful day, and of course I have to share with you a positive quote. Today's positive thought of the day is to run toward what scares you. I'm going to keep it in mind as well today. I think it's a really powerful thought to run toward what scares you, to not let what scares you stop you or make you want to run the other way, but to run right toward it and face it and to embrace life. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Have a beautiful day. Bye.